What's up, y'all? I know you're like, I'm getting all of this face all over social media lately. And I know that that's a little weird. But, I have people in my corner who partner with me, Brittany, who push me, Rochelle, and they're always like, you need to go live more. You need to go live more. Okay, so while I'm in the mood to share, I'm going to share. I know many of you will have seen me posting the book Trademark Your Shit, and you're like, first off, why the profanity? Because sometimes people just have to say that word in order to get the importance behind them. Besides, it's fun, and I didn't want the book to be boring because God knows I didn't want to write the book. However, I have people who push me because of my experience to write a whole multiple range of things, which is funny because I was asked today, hey, so when's your next book coming out? I'm like, can we get through this one first? So I had someone say to me, well, it's kind of weird because, it's kind of high. I was like, and it's kind of cheaper than a lawyer. So what's the problem? So that's where I am right now. So let me tell you why the name, and then also if you listen to the end, I might have something for you. That being said, the name came about simply because when my partner and I talk to a bunch of creators and stuff all the time, and we're talking to business owners as well, they're always nervous in order to do it, in order to trademark, or they don't think they're well off, or they're doing an advanced amount of work, or they've been out there long enough and all of this other kind of stuff. And I think that is for me, or excuse me, I know that is for me. When I hear that, I hear it as a boundary, yet something else someone is setting in front of themselves in order not to do it. So I first started doing like the class teaching people the basics so they can know the difference. And it's because I did all the work with reading and going to all the little trainings and stuff offered by the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and then also because I did the stuff myself. And I try to make it so that you don't do the mistakes that I did. Not that my mistakes were horrible, but it cost me a little bit more money when I did it because I didn't understand the difference between filing one for 350 or filing one for 250. And that's the other thing. They think it's super expensive because once they hear the word, oh, you have to get a lawyer, it like stops them in their tracks and they're like, no. And you know what's interesting? And I think I might have said this when I was teaching a class. Never once did I think, oh, I have to get a lawyer in order to do something that I was doing. It may have been an afterthought because I needed them for contract writing and things of that nature. Shout out to my first lawyer, Tiffany, for writing contracts for subcontractors for me. But I never thought when I was filing a trademark that I needed a lawyer. I was like, oh, okay, this is almost, to me, it was like going through the same process that I went through when I was doing like federal registrations to try to register with the government for SAMS.gov so I could apply for contracts. And so when I did it the first time, the way it is now is much easier than it was the first time. It was like, yo, I don't even know why I'm doing this to myself, because you had to mail stuff in. You had to file online too. The system is a little bit like it is right now, but just different. But it's still a lot easier to do. So that being said, let me give you a little bit of the tips for right now. And I see you. Okay, I see you, Facebook. Okay, sorry, I'm in my comments looking on here. Give you a little bit of the tips that will help you just a little bit. And then, of course, I'm going to tell y'all to go buy the doggone book. I mean, why not? It's cheaper than a lawyer again. And recently, I just did a podcast. A lawyer invited me on her podcast. You know why? Because of the name of the book and the information that I shared in it. And we had a whole discussion. When it comes out, I'll share that with you. But she was impressed with the fact that I knew the amount of stuff that I did and that I was able to speak a language that we as common people that aren't lawyers speak. And that's probably because I deal with them so many times, having to work through communicating what a client wants versus what a client needs and the legal speak in between that. The basis for everything that you do is number one, define your business. Okay, so the book is not just a book itself, it's actually a work. Now, the printed version that I have on Amazon now, soon I'm going to be pushing it to other stores. That is a book that you can carry around and it's a workbook. The ebook version that's provided by KDP is not going to allow you to like print it out and all that stuff. So it has less amount of pages in it. But there's a note section and everything else, which is why I'm saying define yourself, in which I walk you through the process of how to define what it is that you do. So you think you do one thing, but then when you show how you are putting out your goods or service, and if you're a YouTuber, creator, influencer, yes, you have a good or service, you are in entertainment or education, take this gem right now because you'll need it when you go to file. And where you are providing that service, where is this good or service going? Now, people look at this and they go, okay, a good service, but I'm doing it for my brand. Yes, however, your brand still provides a good or service. So you will always define yourself. And the way the United States Patent and Trademark Office defines you is that way, either a good or a service. They don't care that it goes to a brand. They just need you to define what that is. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. After you define yourself, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, where am I going to share this information? Where have I been sharing my name, my logo, my picture, whatever it is that you're trying? Where am I selling my good? Where am I promoting everything that I'm doing? Now, for those people who are influencers, you already know what that is. And if you're a podcaster, you know where that is. Just make sure that you list that as well. And the last thing that you're going to do to make sure that you wrap this all up in a bow, after you do those things and you define where you're doing it, you're then going to write those things out together because that is what's going to help you through your filing process. Now, don't say I didn't give you something for the free 99 because I do it a lot on all these apps, sharing and stuff with people, and they don't believe it. And then next thing you know, it's easy and simple to do. Now, am I one that likes to sell stuff? Absolutely not. And that's so funny because I have a whole marketing degree. I am not one that likes to sell things in that way. Something that I had a professor tell me once is they know when I'm serious about something that I like because I could sell it to anybody, even if they like grew up in a lake. I would sell them water because I like what it is that I'm doing. And the reason I wrote this is because I wanted to teach people how to fish. Once I teach you how to fish, you could do all the other stuff yourself. And then I didn't just leave you hanging for those people who may not have the financial means to file a mark on their own. I gave you resources on how to obtain a lawyer for free to help you. There are resources all over the back of that book with videos, links to things that you didn't know existed for you that are available for those people who need that kind of help. And I even explain that even when you go through this process, you will have a lawyer assigned to you at the USPTO anyway. And they're very good, even though they tell you they can't give you legal advice, they're very good at putting things in ways which you can understand it. Now, it's so interesting to me because I teach you also some like little stuff that people don't talk about. Because every time I see a book about a trademark and it's done by somebody's lawyer, no hate, but even when I was on that podcast this past week and I spoke about this, it's the truth. They got their face up in the front of the book. I'm talking about whole cover, like a whole photo shoot. Just we're talking about trademarks. And then the book is like this mother freaking thick. Who gonna read that? Not me. And I didn't. It's like, do you want to read that? And then you get overwhelmed. I mean, if the website is hard enough for you to go through, what do you think the book is going to be like for you to go through? Okay, so anywho, when you get it, you can then work on your definitions, your stuff, get the resources at the end, a video to watch. I even have a video on YouTube right now that you can go take a look at that gives you some basics so you understand if a trademark is right for you at this time or not. Maybe one day I'll talk about my first mark and why after the 10-year mark, I let it go. I did it in the class that I taught because it just wasn't benefiting me and I was changing my business. But the marks that I filed not too long ago, those are a lot different. And I think that they'll be around a little bit longer for me instead, longer than 10 years. So, that being said, If you put in this code, and that's why I said stay to the end. People do that. When you scrolling on the thing, they're like, I got a course for you. Stay to the end so you can get this benefit. But the version that's sold on trademarkyourshit.com, that's actually a PDF. So that's an 8 by 11 size, which makes it easier when you're doing the workbook parts of it that I have you answer. The other version of the book itself, the smaller version that is 6 by 9, that version is harder to like write in, but it's still easier to put in your pocket and you can still fill it out. And that's the version that's available on Amazon in print for paperback. All right. So if you want this discount code, it gives you a few dollars off because I know, like I said, some people were complaining, being like, this thing just costs too much. And I'm like, really? Are you really saying that it costs too much to protect your brand? No, boo, I'm not going to be selling this to you for $23, $20, and $19 because I still did the work. I still attend the classes. I still meet with the USPTO to find out what people are deciding that they want to do when they're challenging a mark. I still study all the stuff on the back end. You're not going to get all this education. It's still cheaper than a lawyer for no like $14. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it. Not doing it. So if you put in the code, are you ready? TM book, you'll get some money off. All right. So that being said, I will holler at you all later. Y'all might get this face a little bit more. Y'all don't know how hard this is for me because it's not my stilo. I'd rather talk to y'all on some apps like this. All right. Bye.